Hello, and welcome to the Ross Farm. For those unfamiliar with the Ross Farm, we hope this will serve to introduce it and tell you a little bit about what we do here. First and foremost, the board members of the Friends of the Boudinot Southern Ross Estate are enormously grateful to the Somerset County Parks Commission, which allows us to sponsor events here in accordance with our mission, which is to create educational and cultural events that enhance the public's understanding of the historical legacy of the estate and the contributions of the Elias Boudinot, Southard family, and Edmund Ross families. Other board members will be speaking to you about the history of the property, which, as you may know, is listed both on the state and national historic registers. Beyond its historical significance, this lovely 50-acre property affords a wealth of opportunity to provide a community place where people can learn together, enjoy the arts in all its forms, and enjoy a setting in which to absorb and appreciate the natural environment. You'll hear about our vegetable garden, our bird houses, the butterfly garden, and plans to expand the use of the land, as well as to restore and enhance the natural habitat. None of what we've been able to accomplish today could have been done without the help of many, many individuals and community groups. Our founding fathers declared that as citizens, we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This place has made us very happy, and we hope to share that with our community. We think Mr. Boudinot would approve.
The board of directors of the Friends of Boudinot Southern Ross decided that they would try to put a garden in here 2 years ago, and we started with 6 beds. We had enough volunteers last year to support that, and an overflow. It was well kept last year, so we decided to double the size of it this year. We have a lot of different plants in here because it's such a large garden. It's about 100 by 200.
I started off as the outreach person for one of the churches in the consortium, and we're a group of Basking Ridge and Bernardsville churches, and we needed a place to grow food for the Somerset County Food Bank Network. And the Boudinot Friends were good enough to let us come over here and use some of the beds that were here last year. And again, as Dave said, it was just a feel. I mean, we all just worked like crazy to get these beds in place. And the Friends of Boudinot Southern Ross are also very good at donating a lot of the produce from their gardens to us. So this year we have doubled the size of the overall garden, but what you basically see is 3 times as much growth going just to the food bank. This year we've started children's gardens. The Girl Scouts have been in to do a butterfly garden. We've got a historic garden, and a couple of us work over at Tempewick and bring clippings from there.
And we also had an Eagle Scout project that built a shed. A lot of different hands in the community kind of coming together and supporting this endeavor. So and everybody has a really good time doing it. We're thinking, again, it all depends on how well we have volunteers to participate in this, but the concept might be that we double it again next year, and so bang it out a little bit further, and maybe some fruit trees next year instead of vegetables.
When we had our opening day on May 22nd, I think we had almost 70 people here, between the kids and the Girl Scouts and the adults, getting everything planted, which was just amazing.
Started out with our Rock the Barn because that seemed like such a great first event. We wanted to do it again, but somehow more and more people have heard about the music up here and how nicely the events have gone, and they wanted to come up and be a part of it too. And then this spring we've added to that. And we've kind of refined it. It's kind of become what we're calling right now the Ross Farm Music Series, American Voices, where history made America, because we do like to keep the history involved in what we're doing. We do like to educate people on what happened here. And the music is a great way to do that. Music brings people together and gives us a thing to do up here that people can come to of all ages. family has been big fans of OAR for going on a dozen years now, I believe. And Michael Paris is their keyboard player, and he records with them and tours with them. And he has an interesting series called Tune Trek that came out of touring with these guys to these really interesting places in big cities and so on. And he said he got tired of sitting on the bus and not finding out where he was. So he would do a tune trek. But now this summer, spring and summer, he decided to expand that a little bit into the growing genre of house concerts, where he would do a tune trek, but he would follow that up with a concert with a group or a family or whoever wanted to have him come out and do that. And I told him about the Ross Farm because it's such a passion of mine, and he had always wanted to come out here and see it. So when we could combine doing a tune trek about the property and about Elias Boudinot and so on, and then combine it with one of our concerts here, it was a perfect fit. So he wrote the Ross Farm song, and I think that's even the going title for it right now. And it was neat to hear someone or see the product of someone that you admire tie in something that means so much to you into a song that's going to be a song for us to use and to have.
We at both the Ross Farm and Artsy are firm believers in building community through the arts, and this farm is the perfect place for this. At the most recent happening in May, I was so taken aback. At about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, there was music happening out on the lawn. I looked over to my left, and there was a middle school tent set up with teachers and students explaining the water cycle. And I look over to my right, and there are people posing in photo booths, wearing costumes and clothing, and people are making art, and folks are just sitting around and having burgers and hot dogs. And I felt like this is the town that I want to live in. This is my Basking Ridge. We, the board members, have been making this magic happen with our own energy and sweat and our own personal funds, as well as charitable donations from some of our amazing community partners. So, if you feel moved, we would love to have you join us in the adventure.
Hi, I'm David Becker, and welcome to the Ross Farm. I'm president of the Friends of the Boudinot Southern Ross Estate, and certainly very fortunate to fill that role. I was part of the first wave of the community to enter the property after the county purchased the land from the Ross family back in 2005. Since that time, we've watched a community organization grow on the land and open up the property to so many different activities you've gotten a glimpse of this evening. Our first mission was born in our first events, where we opened it up to the public for free. We found private donations to help fund what we were doing, and we were able to host fourth graders from Oak Street or members of the public at large for our first few history weekends. Well, after doing that for several years and a lot of special permits with the county, they encouraged me to help form a 501c3, and I reached out to like-minded members of the community to begin to do that. It included Mr. Ned Nelson, Jeffrey West, Peter Winter, and Reverend Rick Morley, and together we formed the first Friends of the Boudinot Southern Ross. And our momentum began to grow, and we slowly added more board members, more like-minded folks in the community who knew this place was special. If you're here tonight, you know that too. Many of you have children who've been here as part of our prior events, or they've been volunteers. But over time, our group of now 16 has stuck to our mission, and that's to open the grounds for educational opportunities. We teach about history, for cultural opportunities. We do art here, we do live music, and we do a bunch of crazy things too. Perhaps the craziest was that leap of imagination that turned into tonight's Farm to Table event. That idea started with David Torsavia several years ago, and as you've heard, it's grown into this wonderful bounty we call Boudinot's Garden. We keep trying to find ways to honor Mr. Boudinot and Mr. Southard and the Ross family, and we'll continue to do so, and we appreciate your support in doing that. So over the years, many people have helped. As you've heard, we're about creating a place, and one that's born of the community. That's you, that's us, that's our children. And so we at the Ross Farm are especially grateful for your support tonight, look forward to your engagement in the future, and with that, we thank you.